Hi, everyone. We're about to start Under the Scope, and I am so excited. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's another episode of Under the Scope. I am excited to be here. It is Saturday. Yay! So, I am your host, Kimberlon B. A little bit about me: I'm a licensed professional counselor in Phoenix, Arizona. And this show is a show that I created because I wanted to get the word out about mental health awareness. And I couldn't do all of this by myself. That would be rude. Sharing is caring. So I teamed up with some fabulous people across the goal. And not only are they talking about mental health, they're bringing their knowledge, skills, and talents in every area. And what I like about them is that they said yes, without a shadow of a doubt, to team up with me so we can address these mental health stigmas in all areas. So I'm really excited that they came on Under the Scope. The information on Under the Scope is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes, and it doesn't substitute a higher level of care or any other type of services that you may need. And if you need anything, please put it in the chat or find me on Facebook at Kimberlon B. That's KIMBRALONBLPC on Facebook, or you can email me on Gmail. It is focused living, FOCUSED LIVING at gmail.com. And I'll get you the information that you need, regardless of where you're at. A little bit about the show and how it goes and the rules of the show is that I like to hold this show in Zoom because it gives people that are attending an opportunity to ask our guest question. And we like to say it's under the scope because these questions are unrehearsed, unscripted. So our special guests, they don't know what's coming at them. So I like that the most about this show. So that's why we have it in Zoom. And those that are attending right now, if you have any questions, comments, kudos, unless our special guest direct you otherwise, please utilize your chat or your raise hand function. So today is a special guest. She's a friend of mine, a classmate from home state, you name it. And she's been to Under the Scope before. So I'm excited that she's taking time out of her schedule again to come under the scope. I'm so excited that you are here, Nicole Conway. So, what I want you to do is to intro yourself. And then before I turn the floor over to her, I want everybody to know that this show is probably a unique one today because Nicole will be under the scope all day because we are just going through it, having a conversation about fitting forgiveness into families. You know, this is an area that we honestly need to talk about because it's easy to cut people off that's not your family members. But child, I hope the information we get today will make family reunions a lot easier.
Amen.
And bring them back together. Bring those things back, y'all. We don't even have them no more. People
Yeah.
get mad and have their own family reunion. We don't even get together. How we family? So let's fit forgiveness in that. And without further ado, I hand the floor over right now to Nicole Conway.
You guys, my name is Nicole Conway. I was born in Seattle, Washington, and we moved to Seattle when I was 10 years old. So I was there for 40 years. And um, Kim and I know each other from high school. We knew each other, but we didn't. So, there's so many people there. You see each other in passing and stuff, but we never got to know each other really until we became adults, which is fine because here we are today. A little bit about me: I have two adult children, I have four bonus children from my husband, and I have three granddaughters. They're all in Austin. Let's see what else. I am a plus size model, which I haven't been able to do because of COVID, which I miss so much walking the runway. I am a personal stylist, a wardrobe stylist. So all of those things kind of mesh together with mental health for me. That I use that as my platform to help other women to build themselves on the inside so the outside looks great.
I like that information. Now, I noticed when I was tagging you in a post that it said food blogger too.
Oh God.
When you were in Austin, yes, talk about that as well, just a little bit, because that ties into mental health.
So we have a page called the ATX Food Blogger, which we've extended to New York and New Jersey because we now live in New York. My husband got a job with ACLU as a campaign strategist, so we moved here. So we've been here almost 2 years. So since we've come here, we've kept it going. Now, how it got started was when he and I were dating. We were going out to eat. You know, that's what you do when you first meet. You go out to different restaurants and try different places. So he was like, "Why don't we start a food blog?" So we weren't even together yet. We were just getting to know each other. And that's how the food blog started. So now we keep it going. And we also invite other people to come in and make them admin so they can post things as well. That way more people know about different places and different food places in different areas. You
That's
saw me
good.
out.
I know it's important. I'm like, put it all out there. She named about two things, and her resume is long, y'all, and I just love it. Uh, so Nicole, so I know I was glad that you said yes to the topic, and I know we chatted a little bit about the topic, fitting forgiveness into families, and I wanted to give you that opportunity now to actually share your own personal story of fitting that forgiveness back into your family.
So I did a YouTube video about forgiving my biological father, the father that was never in my life. He would always say that he was going to be around and he was going to come and see how I was doing. And then he finally decided when I wasn't a teenager. I was still in Seattle. So I was probably about 7 or 8. And he told my mother that he would rather fall off the face of the earth before he paid child support or been a part of my life. Now, keep in mind, I had all my family members from his side of the family. I knew all of them. I grew up with them. I was at my grandmother's house on a regular basis, playing with cousins and stuff. So I knew my family and I knew that was my father. So for so many years, I was trying to fill that void of a male figure in my life, which turned into being promiscuous and making decisions that I should not have made because I was trying to fill that void. And I didn't realize that. So for many years, I tried to reach out to him. My grandmother almost forced the relationship and said, "You need to help Nicole and her mother." And he was just in denial. Well, later on, I found out that I have a brother that is a year older than me, born like a couple days, in the same month. So my birthday's the 28th. I think his birthday was the 26th of October. So I didn't know all this was going on until I got older. So for many years, I was trying to reach out to my dad, trying to create some kind of relationship because I had a hole in my heart. Well, I had a stepdad that came into my life that filled that hole, but still, you always want to know who you're from and why you can't build a relationship. And we tried over the years, but it just never worked. I did have a chance when he lived in Hawaii. That's when he said he was going to fall off the face of the earth. I did have a chance to go visit him in Hawaii when I was a lot younger. But while I was there, he was never available. He took his vacation after I left, a week after I left, instead of taking it while I was there. So I made friends with this neighbor that lived in the condos he lived in, and I did all kinds of stuff in Hawaii, but it wasn't with him. So for many years, I felt that void still. I still kept trying to fill that void. And I don't know. We tried to rekindle the relationship. When my grandmother passed, I asked him, did he want to have a relationship with me? And he told me no. So I left it alone. Well, when I turned 51 last year, I decided, you know what? I need to make some amends with him. And it was really hard. I got nervous every time I tried to think about even reaching out to him. Found out that he was in Thailand. Don't ask me why. Living in Thailand, as my dad would say, stuck on stupid. So I reached out to a cousin that he still keeps in contact with. And I told her, I said, when you talk to him again, ask him to call me. And I hadn't talked to him in years. And I really had to pray about how I was going to deal with actually forgiving him and literally letting it go. Because you can say with your mouth that you forgive somebody, but you can still be carrying it around. It's just surface. But if you don't get down under it and find out what's causing and the root, then it trickles into your relationships with your mate, with your friends, with everything. So I finally got to the point. I said, Lord, I really need to forgive this man, but I am going to release him after I forgive him because he was never there. You can't really miss something that wasn't actually in your life. So when he called, I spoke to him and he said, so what's going on? I said, I just want to call you and tell you I forgive you. And he said, forgive me for what? I said, for never being in my life, never being the male figure that I needed to grow into who I am now. Because as a little girl, you need that male in your life telling you, oh, you're pretty. I'm so proud of you. You're the best ever. Women need that. And when you don't have that in your life, you seek too many different things that you shouldn't be seeking in the process. So he had the nerve to tell me that he was my godfather.
Wow.
And it could have easily broken me at that moment when he said it, but I chose for it not to. So he said, your mother, before she passed, she didn't tell you that I was your godfather? And I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, I am your godfather. She didn't tell you that. I said, well, whatever idea or lie that you want to go with, that's fine. But I know the truth. And I don't need my mom here to tell me that. So I want to forgive you. And I told him that he had grandchildren and he had great grandchildren. And I said, now it's time for me to let you go. I had to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, so today, I just want to let you know, you don't have to ever call me again. You don't have to try to reach out to me. You don't have to have any type of relationship with me because I'm okay. And I meant that. That was the best feeling in the world, to take all that pressure off of my shoulders, because I was carrying that burden for so many years for nothing. And I kept feeling like, well, maybe it was something that I did, or maybe it was something my mother did, but it wasn't. It was him. So I put the ball in his park and I'm gonna let him deal with that. That's not my problem anymore.
Yes.
So it has helped me in my relationships with everything that I do, because that was a hindrance and it was something that was heavy on me that I was carrying around too long. I was not to bear his cross, and I was.
Mm-hmm. During that time, even that journey, like when he wasn't around and you was trying to figure it out, was there ever a time where that burden of what I did wrong and all of that turned into resentment for him?
It did turn into resentment, but you know, when you're in that confused state of you don't know whether to love somebody or to let them go, or I do care about them but I don't know how and I want to, you're just conflicted, period. But when you get to that epiphany and the light bulb comes on, it's it. You're done. And if you can truly let that person go, that's the best feeling in the world. And I don't have any regrets. I don't feel bad. When he introduced me to my biological brother, he told me, oh, this is your stepsister. This was years ago. And I said, no, just because we have different mothers, I don't believe in step. This is my brother. So it was just too many things that he had demons he was fighting with, and he wanted me to fight his demons with him. And I was not going to do that. Nobody should have to fight somebody else's demons. We got our own. And the problem is because as a child, that's trauma. And I kept pressing it down, pressing it down. And then when I did have my nervous breakdowns, I had no idea what it was stem from. I didn't understand why I was going through it. But when you put that Pandora's box and you close it tight, when you finally open it, it explodes in your face and there's nothing else you can do about it. And that's where I was. And I said, at this point in my life, I said, I'm not going to go another year into dealing with this again. I said, I'm done. And that's why I wanted to reach out to him. And I don't feel bad about it at all. I feel great.
Yes. Was it that's so powerful. I know the word powerful came in the box. That is so like powerful. Was there a time, even when you were growing up, I know you said like in that state of confusion, because this has happened in some relationships before, where you thought, or you may have taken out your emotions on your mom. Like, is it, you know what I mean? Is it something that she could have done? What happened? Why isn't he here? Because you know how when you're the only parent present, that's the one that we would
Mhm.
originally release on. Did you
Right.
ever do that with your mom?
No, she never really talked bad about him. Because I was asking so much and wanted to know. I do remember there was a time where she actually showed me that letter where he said he would fall off the face of the earth before he give her a dime. And it broke my heart because I couldn't understand how two people, regardless of what the relationship is, would come together and make a child and then you don't want to have anything to do with it. I mean, I didn't ask to come. So it was just kind of like, but I was never upset with her because I knew her and my grandmother were really trying to make us have some type of relationship. Now, when I was in my 20s and I had my oldest daughter with me, we did have somewhat of a relationship, but he and I fell out over some pictures of, I have a niece and nephew that live in Hawaii now, and he had sent me some pictures to look at, and I was in the process of moving. I was a young parent, a single parent, and I was moving, and I lost the pictures. I don't know what happened to him, and he told me, "I can't believe you would lose something like that," and he just cut me off after that. So I just said, "Oh well." I mean, and I wrote him a nice 3-page letter, but we're not gonna talk about that.
Did that letter go there? Did that letter, was
It did.
released?
He got it.
Oh, okay. All right. The raw letter. Yeah, but I mean, whatever we have to do to release.
Mhm.
And so, the reason I wanted to bring this topic on here now about fitting that forgiveness and back into the family,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna segue just a teeny bit with that. So, did you find like your dad not being around or not being able to forgive, did that contribute to any relationship challenges for you during, while you were growing up or during your adult life?
Like I said, during my teenage years, I did become very promiscuous and I didn't understand why. Um, and it was trying to fill that hole, that void that was not there. And I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't realize it until a lot later. Um, my let's see, my stepdad came into, and I don't call him stepdad, I'm just trying to let you guys know who he is. When my mom married my stepdad, it was when I was a senior in high school. And no, I was going from a senior to going to college. And I think he saved my life because I was just losing my mind. And he was like, "You can't get over on me." I mean, every time I tried to do something, every time I snuck, went over to Conan's Pizza after the game. He was at HEB watching me across the park, stuff like that. So anything that I was trying to trip myself up with, he really helped me through that time period. So I really believe had my stepdad not been in my life, I think that would have made a big difference of who I became or which direction I was going in.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I was trying to find the definition. I want to read to you the definition of forgiveness that I found and ask you to break that down if I can find the definition of forgiveness. I may put you under the scope and have you give your own definition of forgiveness. Let's see. Of course, I didn't screenshot it. Um, would you like to give me your definition of forgiveness?
For me, I would say truly releasing any pain that's attached to something or someone that you no longer need because it becomes a cancer in your life, of completely letting it go. And not just saying it on the surface, but underneath, like I said before, completely letting it go. Because
Mhm.
as women, we have a tendency to say later, "Oh yeah, you remember what so and so did," and then you start reliving that stuff in your mind. And why do you want to keep? And I did a poem a long time ago. It was about stop playing those old tapes. And basically, that's what it is. We play those old tapes that no longer They don't even make cassette players anymore, but we still rolling that tape through and listening to, oh, who shot John, and that was so much pain, and then we relive that again, and we're not healed. We go right back to it, and that's where that virus and the cancer lives in us, and it festers in our lives if we don't let stuff completely go.
Exactly. So I found the definition and it was on point to what you were saying. At Berkeley University, they define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release, just like you were talking about, feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or a group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve forgiveness, which is key. And it says forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. So forgiveness is a you thing, you know, to not, I like to say it's a you thing because like you said, it holds up that space, it
Mm-hmm.
takes up residence. We'll talk a little bit in a few minutes about the mental health piece, but it just really takes its toll. So however you have to forgive, like even if that's releasing and letting it go, so it doesn't fester, it doesn't affect future relationships, everything else. We have to get to that place of forgiveness to release it. And I was glad that you actually shared that this isn't that happily ever after story that most people think, that we forgive, we reconvene, and then, years later, we just, working through the storm. You had to do that release, that you release, to go ahead and set your emotions and everything related to that for free.
Correct. And I also had somebody, when I did that video on YouTube, reach out to me and said, "Well, what if the person has is deceased?" And I told them that you still have to do the same process, even if you can't talk to them. If you have to journal it, or go get your fire pit and write it out on a piece of paper and throw it in the fire. Whatever you have to do, you got to let that go, because that creates stress and anxiety and so many other things. And then you wonder, like, you may have you may smell something and have a trigger of something that has to do with that person, and you don't know why, and then you go into an episode. So it's just the process. You have to go through the process whether you can talk to that person or not.
Exactly. I know you mentioned that you had a couple, you said like a couple of nervous breakdowns. Was it because of the interactions with your dad, or was it just a compilation of things?
It was a compilation of things. I say this all the time when I speak. I have a sister that's 8 years younger than I am. But people in our community, our Black community, would always compare us. She's very fair skinned with long, pretty hair. I was dark skinned with the kinkier hair. I was heavier set. She was smaller. And people would always make a difference. So when she was a baby and we would be in the store, people would come up and, "Oh, she's so pretty." And then they just kind of look at me and smile. And my mom would always have to come to my defense by saying, "Both of my children are beautiful," or whatever it was. I had a bully in junior high school when I first came to Austin, and I just never thought I was enough. And then when you don't have a father there to help with that, to enforce that, yes, you are enough, it was just a lot of things that played against me. Um, so I think being a single parent, every year having to go through the holidays with my kids by myself, and then the trauma from my childhood just blew up. And I didn't understand what it was at the time. I've had 3 nervous breakdowns between the ages of 20 and 30. I was hospitalized all 3 times, but the last time I was in there, I was in the PICU, which is um, it's a closed off area from the rest of the hospital, and I really thought I was gone. I didn't think I was going to return after that time. So I think it was accumulation of everything, and it just blew up, and I couldn't handle it anymore.
Exactly, because even, with his presence or someone being absent in the relationship, that already leaves you with those type of feelings where you're feeling like you're not good enough. And that's where the impact also carries into future relationships.
Correct.
And so, and that can also present those challenges of fitting forgiveness into families. So, even going back there, we'll talk about this main topic. Thank you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
So, most I wanted to do a segment on it, and I still may, about unhealthy relationships and how toxic family relationships contribute to unhealthy relationships. And so so now we're talking about if we do have these toxic family relationships, however it's defined, it's no one size fits all. I don't, we don't know what made that family toxic necessarily. So how do you, or what words can you give people to fit forgiveness back into a family member so we can prevent having these side family reunions that we have where we don't want so and so to come and so there? How can we start to fit forgiveness into families?
I really believe that, and I'm gonna pivot a little bit. So because of social media, it can be used for good or for bad. So when we have issues with each other, whether it's family or friends, sometimes we get on there and we do little sidebar digs where shots are fired at our family members on the cool, should we say. And and if you think about how we dealt with things a long time ago, there was no social media. You couldn't hide behind a screen and say bye 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 whatever. You can meet me. You didn't have that audience. You had to go to that person and talk to them. Whether you picked up the phone or said, let's go have a glass of wine or some coffee or something and let's talk it out. Too many of us avoid the confrontation because we don't want to talk about it, or it's uncomfortable, or something may come up from that other person that they may remind you of something you did, and then I'm gonna get mad and we're gonna fight. But if you go into it saying, I want to heal from this, whether you want it or not, and say, let's meet, let's pray about this before we start. We don't have to argue, we don't have to yell, and it's about setting boundaries. Let's talk about this thing. Girl, you made me mad when you did blah blah blah. Whether it's our friends or our family, we should be able to talk to them. They are our family, correct? And I know we say at times blood is thicker than water, but that's not always the case. Sometimes water is thicker than blood, and I have learned that many times in my life. But even if it's somebody you feel like it's worth salvaging, you should go to them. If they decide not to take it, then you have to go your way. You at least got it off of your heart and your chest that this is what I was dealing with, this is how I was feeling. I have a family member right now that I need to talk to about some things, but I have not reached out to her yet because I don't want to do it over the phone because I'm so far away. I want to wait till I come to Austin and we sit down and have a conversation because I know she's trying to avoid the conversation with me. I'm not scared to have it, but I know she's avoiding it. But she gets very defensive if I bring anything up. So guess what? We're gonna sit face to face and talk about it when I come home. That's
That's
somebody
right.
I can't do that over the phone. Some people don't do phone, and it's better that we connect with each other in person anyway, because we're already in lockdown with the pandemic. So why not meet me somewhere outside on the patio and let's talk this thing out? It's all
Exactly.
about communication.
It's all about communication. Yes, 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 yes. And how do we fit that forgiveness? Nicole was sharing with us. First thing, we got to acknowledge
Mhm.
that there is a problem there, or that this person is causing us to quote feel some kind of way when we around, or we think, we find that our whole mood and our whole body change when we around someone. So obviously there's some type of not so great emotions that's there that we need to figure out. So we got to acknowledge that it's there. It's there. Whether you try to blow it off, it's there anyway. And then, just like Nicole was sharing, finding that right time to approach it. It may not be that right time to actually square off with that person right then, but finding that appropriate time when it comes to communication. Because sometimes we'll catch them at the wrong time. It's the wrong time for us, and before you know it, it is on. So having to find that right time to actually fit that forgiveness
Mhm.
in there. So Nicole, before because I'm getting ready to mix the two, you were on Under the Scope before, and we still ask this question: what is your definition of mental health?
For me, it is once again, it's communicating, finding somebody that you can speak with, that you are comfortable with talking about whatever it is that's going on in your life. And I truly believe in getting a therapist, a counselor, a psychiatrist, whatever you need. I definitely say you should do it, because sometimes we have the tendency to have one girlfriend that we always call about everything, but we don't take in consideration that maybe she's burned out, maybe she's going through some depression or some anxiety, and finding somebody that is um, that's can talk, you can talk to, that doesn't know anything about you, and they won't judge you, they won't look at you different, or you remember you went through this before when you were with so and so. So taking the time out to do healthy things to get yourself in a better place, whether it's therapy or going for a walk or a ride and listen to music. There's so many things that you can do, but you have to apply it. It's easy to slip into the darkness and be in the room with the curtains drawn and you don't want to talk to anybody, and then putting on that good face when you go out in public like there's nothing wrong. We put our mask on so well that people never know that there's anything wrong with us. So making sure that you take care of you. I'm a big advocate on self-care, big time. Kim knows.
Yes.
So when I see you saying taking the day off to spend time with family, I'm over here applauding you, because
Yes.
as a as a person that's constantly pouring into other people's cup, your cup gets so dry that you don't even have the residue left in there, and you have nothing for yourself. You have to find ways to pour back into yourself, because somebody may not always be able to pour back into your cup.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud you for that. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I take it. And also along those lines, where Nicole was sharing about going into therapy, even though I'm a therapist and I endorse it everywhere I go. But in all seriousness, especially when it comes to fitting forgiveness into families, who in the world are you going to talk to?
Mhm.
You have your family, they may be the offenders in that moment. There may not be anyone that you can talk to. And honestly, getting that neutral person is key, because some of us do have the girlfriends. I call them the shoot 'em up, bang, bang, ride or die ones. They're going to co sign with you. And you may be off the chain, but they're going to go off the chain
Yeah,
with
we're
you.
doing a drive-by.
Yeah, that's what we gonna do right after the show. No, but that's what. But or you get the other ones that try to say something to you, and then it's, who do you think you are? Blah blah blah. But
Yes.
actually getting into that place to where I can talk this out and talk through all of my resentments and figure out how to talk to my family. That's why we go to therapy, to figure it out, so I can work through that resentment. I know the topic is easy to type out, fitting forgiveness in the families, but that's the hardest thing to
It
do.
is very.
And that's why I said for fitting. I didn't even say forgiving, because we have to go through a process to be able to fit it in.
That's right.
And that little impact can make a huge difference.
Mhm.
So, Nicole, so what do you think the impact of forgiveness? How do you think it impacts mental health? Or unforgiveness, how does it impact mental health?
Like I said before, it's almost like carrying around, like, I know y'all remember Bag Lady. I did a skit on Bag Lady a long time ago when I was doing poetry. And I had all these bags. I had different Ziploc bags, big. That's what you are carrying around, a bunch of garbage. Like you're carrying like a big old dead body in a body bag around you everywhere you go. If you think about that, that body is going to start smelling, decaying, and everybody around you is going to smell it, but they're not going to tell you nothing. But really in your mind, you know that dead body is, you pulling it around everywhere you go. Why would you want to carry around that weight of
Mm-hmm.
all of that old stuff that doesn't help you to do anything of what you're doing right now. It's not helping you grow in any type of way. So if you watch a plant and you see how it's sprouting, if you don't water it, it's gonna die, it's gonna shrivel up, the dirt is gonna be really dry. The same way, you have to water all the time, constantly. Do you know how much they say you got to drink all this water every day? We have to water ourselves. So why would you water something that's dead? Why would
Hmm.
you keep pouring water and nutrients on something that's not coming back? So
Wow.
when you sit and think about the unforgiveness in your life, think about yourself carrying a stinky dead body around with you everywhere you go, or bags of trash that smell horrible. We look good and we feel good, and yes, girl, I got it going on, but you got all this trash that you pulling behind you.
Mm. Mm. And
And
we
then
have.
you think,
Mhm.
just real quick, and then you think about the people. So Pete, you present yourself as everything is fine and I'm great and I'm running through daisies every day and I got this beautiful smile on my face every day. And then you got that girlfriend that calls you and she dumps more trash on you every time
Uh-oh.
you call. Girl, did you know blah blah blah? So this is what I say to that. If you are not in the position that you can receive it from them, you say, today, baby, I don't have the bandwidth to deal with this because I'm
Mm-hmm.
dealing with something right now. Let me call you back when I'm in a better space. If they are a true friend, they'll say, you know what, I respect that, and I'll talk to you when you're in a better space. Because we do have some of those friends that are not reciprocal. The ones that are only dumping their trash, but they don't take none of your trash off of you. So
Yes.
when you know they calling and you know what it's about to be, I'm not available right now, but let me get back with you maybe tomorrow. And the next day may not be looking too clear either. So you have to set solid boundaries for yourself because people will do you any kind of way you allow them to.
That is so true. It's levels to this friendship game. But no, seriously, we do have to consider that when we're talking about forgiveness and working forgiveness, whether it's with family or anyone else, we do have to make sure that we do have that clear mind to
Mm-hmm.
be able to fit. Because if I'm trying to make room and I'm carrying, like you said, the dead bodies, this trash, now I gotta put one more thing. Susie
Girl.
Q calling, hit me up. I can't even see.
Mm-mm.
It's okay. We don't, we don't have to be superwoman of the year. Sometimes that superwoman looks like instead of S on our chest, no, N-O.
Put that
And
cape
that's
in the
it.
cleaners.
Take the cake. Yeah, please. And that's perfectly okay.
Yes.
So yes, is there anything else, Nicole, that you want to contribute to the topic of fitting forgiveness into families before we go under the scope?
Yes, that you definitely need to forgive yourself first. You
Mm,
can't forgive nobody if you mad at yourself for what you did when you was 25,
hmm.
or what you said to somebody on such and such day during the family reunion. You acted a
Uh-oh.
fool. How about you forgive you first before you can forgive somebody else?
All
That's
right.
what I will add to that. Forgive you. And that is the hardest thing, to forgive yourself for stuff.
That's another episode.
That's another episode. We're gonna put a pin in that one right there.
Yeah, forgiving yourself. So, well, I know the chat is blowing up, and I'm excited to see it blowing up. So I'm getting ready to open the floor. But before I do, I want you to just share with everybody where we can find you on social media outlets everywhere.
So on Facebook, you can find me at Nicole Conway Speaks, SPEAKS. I'm on Instagram under Nicole Conway Speaks. That is the mental health side of me. The fashion side of me is Nicole Conway Stylist on Facebook. And on Instagram, I am Cocos Image, COCOSIMAGE. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which is Nicole R. Conway. And I make sure I put the R in there because there's some other Nicole R. Conways, and I mean Nicole Conways, and that is not me.
All right. And then also the book. Tell us about the book.
Oh, okay. So I have a book called Cocos Chronicles that I wrote. Has it been 3 years? I think it's 3 years ago. There it is. She got
Yes.
it. 3 years ago. You can find it on Amazon, and it is basically a book. It's a compilation. So I have stories in there about my life, little short stories, and then I have poetry that I've written, and scriptures and quotes. So it's like having a daily read. You can go in there and look at any day you want. There's no particular day. There's no order. You can look at it however you like. When I first wrote that book, a girlfriend of mine said it's like having your girlfriend on the side of your nightstand when you don't want to read the Bible. And I said, well, thank you. But that is, I have something else coming out I didn't tell you about. I have a guided journal that I will be putting out possibly in April. It's done. I just got to get all the revisions and stuff done to it, and that'll be
Yay.
coming out next.
That's exciting. You holding back. Okay. That's very exciting.
I'm under the scope, so I might as well share it here.
You might as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Use this as a confessional. Thank you very much. And bring it on out. Bring it on. You heard it here first under the scope family. Um, I'm so glad that you came on to talk about fitting forgiveness into families. This is key. And even though it's just been an hour that we talked about this, forgiveness doesn't come overnight. It is one of the hardest things to do.
Yes, it
It's
is.
not that easy. I mean, even listening to Nicole share her own story, she said is when she got to this age,
Mhm,
from what, from teenage, right? To 51,
mhm.
from like 15 to 51, right? Or something
Yeah,
like,
it's been that long, and it may happen for some people earlier. But if you
yes.
get the information early and you start applying it, then it won't take you to your 51 to start forgiving people.
Exactly. When you notice that it's there, when you notice that the feelings are overwhelming, forgiveness is only going to work once you get in the car and start the car up.
That's right.
That's the only way it's going to work. And again, forgiveness may not look like happily ever after. It may be that place of where I got to release. I've done all I need to do. I've taken up mental space. It's time for me to clear out space and evict all kinds of anxiety, depression, unhealthy relationships, whatever I got to evict out. So
That's
then I can get into that place to forgive me.
right. Mhm.
Thank you so much. So,
You.
everyone, we're getting ready to go under the scope. I am excited. Nicole is going under the scope. So, the chat, I just wanted to share a little bit in the chats because the chat, you've been blowing the chats up, Nicole. Let me just say, okay, people may not have nothing to say today because you've been blowing the chats up. But if anybody has anything they want to share with Nicole, ask Nicole, either raise your hand or put it in the chat. So I know Kayla said, I love how you chose to forgive and release him. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And Andrea said it was powerful. When she typed that word, I was like, yep, that's what I was thinking. That's what caught my mind. And Kayla said, I love this. This is the definition of real talk. And Joy said, you all in her business. And she said it twice. Times two, you all in her business. Kayla said, woo, this is on point. Andrea said she loved this good stuff. Kayla said, when it comes to that communication, timing, tone, and technique, yes, baby girl. Mama shared that with you. It does stay with the conversation, with communication. Andrea said, whoo. Joy said, real talk, that part. I don't know what you said during that part, but it's that part. Kayla said, yes. Joy said boundaries are important, and she said that I forgive me.
That's
And I
awesome.
and Andrea said I appreciate your honesty.
Oh, thank you.
And she said it's in agreement mine too. She says she appreciates that. So, anyone else have any questions or ready to take Nicole under the scope? Or would like to even share? Anyone even, if you feel safe in this space now to talk about if there's someone that you need to forgive or how even share your story of how you fit forgiveness into the family or with anyone. I mean, we're all family if we're friends or not. So Andrea, then I'll go to Choice.
Hi, I just wanted to say I appreciate the good part I got to hear. I really had to let my father go. And when I say let him go, I don't mean let him go in the sense that I didn't want to talk to him anymore, but I just decided that he hadn't been there my whole life. But I decided to move on. So if he tells me he's going to call me tomorrow, I don't fall apart, because I used to sit there and wait for that call. And if I didn't get it, I would feel abandoned once again. And at some point in my life, I don't remember when it was, but it wasn't that long ago. So it's been in the last probably 4 or 5 years, and it's a ongoing process where I've just gotten to the point to accept my dad for who he is. And when we talk, we talk. When we don't, we don't. I just refuse to live the rest of my life like that. So the bondage that I had put myself in by struggling, because he was going on with his life, it wasn't affecting him, it was affecting me. So I just made that decision to just let him go and let him be. And I love my dad. I've learned to love my dad for the dad that he is. And I can't compare him to anybody else because he can only be who he is. Hard, challenging, but I had to do it for me. So I thank you for even sharing this today, because this is just so powerful and so true and so real. And, I feel like I lost 30 pounds. Hallelujah.
Yes.
Thank you for the weight loss pill. Thank you. There's some more folks I need to let go.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Amen.
Uh-oh. That's at New York. No.
That's for Andrea.
Oh, Andrea, that's your confirmation. The snaps. Bop, bop, bop. All right, thanks for sharing, Andrea. Choice.
I changed position. I'm here. Hi. Okay, so Nicole, when you were talking about the age, what was it, 15 to 51? Mine started at 12.
Wow.
Till I turned 50. When I turned 50 is when I finally released it all. I had to just start forgiving, but I had to learn to start forgiving me first. Once I started forgiving me, then I was able to start forgiving others. But the crazy thing about that is, while you're in that process of forgiving others, even without them knowing it, it's when you come face to face with the individuals that's hard. It makes a big difference, because you said you forgave, so you're not bringing this stuff back up. But the minute you lay eyes, it's like this, and all the butterflies on the inside and everything. But you have to you have to go past it. You have to, and it is a step process. It is a step process. So I just want to let you know, I identify with what you're saying. I've gone through it. Right now, we're all in a good place. It's a better place, much better place. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my mom and my sisters. My sisters, I have 3 sisters. Their father raised me since I was 2 years old. Found out later I had a biological father. Now I'm taking care of him with another brother. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So that's why I say forgiveness. And once you forgive, you say you're gonna let that thing go, but it's a battle, especially when they don't know you did it and you decided this is that was hard. That was really, really hard. So that's all I wanted to share with.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
All right, I got a question for you from the chat. It's from Mika. It says, as a single mom, how were things for your oldest daughter when you were dealing with her dad? Did you feel as if you had to protect her from anything you went through when it came to you dealing with your dad?
Okay, I'm gonna break it up some. So with her dad, at the time that I was with her dad, I was extremely green. I'm not even gonna lie. He was a drug dealer, and I lived in Houston, and it's so many things that's a whole nother under the scope. But I'll just say this: I went through it with him. but I learned so many valuable things that I'm glad that I learned then and I didn't have to learn later in life. But after he and I broke up and I moved back to Austin, it was hard raising a child by myself. And then her and my other daughter seeing me go through that and not understanding why mommy's always in the bed, why it's always dark, why she won't eat. They didn't understand what was going on. But I still, and I truly believe children are blessings and they are the ones that keep you grounded. If I didn't have those children, I can't tell you where I would be. I would probably be in some mental institution rocking. I'm not even gonna lie. So having to make myself get up and take them to school and make sure that they ate and the whole nine, I was forced to make sure I took care of my kids because I didn't have anybody there to help me. So what did you say? Did you feel as if you protect her from anything? And yes, I tried to protect her as much as I could, both of them. But it was hard when I was fighting my own demons, trying to raise kids and go to work and putting that, like I said before, putting that mask on like everything was okay. That was hard, trying to keep all those balls in the air until I finally snapped and I couldn't take it anymore. So when I did go through my breakdown, I did call my mother and I told her what was happening. I couldn't really describe it at the time because, you know, it was still early on. And, you know, we talk about this all the time in the Black community. You don't talk about you going through it. Like you keep that within your doors. You don't talk about it. And that's just not something that I discuss out. Like if I talk to friends, I covered it up like nothing was wrong, but I was really suffering and they watched me go through that. I really believe that my oldest daughter watched all of it and can recant everything that I went through. I plan on doing a video with her sooner or later. I don't know when I'm gonna be ready for that one, for her to share what she saw. And I'm kind of scared to see because I know it's going to bring up a lot of emotions because I can't remember a lot of things that I did while I was going through that. I really don't.
Wow, thanks for sharing. Can't wait to see that. And I'm super transparent. So I know Kayla's on here because if I want everyone else to share, and I have to share what was very interesting that happened to me and Kayla. So Kayla's dad has been absent since she was little. And I got a call like last year from a hospital in California, and they were like, "Hey, do you know who's Kayla's dad?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't know what type of call this was." And we got a call that he was in the hospital because he has dementia for
Mm,
all what he's gone through. He's 52 years old with dementia, and they said that they know he will not be able to function or exist by himself. And
yeah.
they wanted to know if I could be the decision maker for him. Like, nope, I'm
Ooh.
sorry, y'all. I'd fit forgiveness into that situation, but I was like, no. But I'm bringing this up because Kayla had searched for him for years. We couldn't find it at all. So this call is where we found out where he was, where he's been, all of that. And I was like, I'm not doing it. My son's like, no, I'm good. I'm not doing it. And this other siblings, and no one wanted to do it. But Kayla stepped up and she said
Wow.
I would make the decisions. But during that, she said, I think where her forgiveness came from, and Kayla, jump in if you have to, was that she had that opportunity to talk to and then release, even in the state of dementia. And she's at a place where she was okay. Did I say it right, Kayla? 'Cause I know the grandkids are there. Did you want to
Yes.
add anything?
Yeah, this is why, Nicole, your story that you shared just really resonated with me because I got married to my husband and it was a wonderful wedding. And then, I got this news shortly after. And I just remember, the range of emotions that you go through because like my mom said, I've looked for him for years. And when I finally found him, it's like I didn't even get that quote unquote closure that I thought I was seeking from him. And, his dementia is really, really, really intense, really severe. So he doesn't even remember like conversation to conversation, you know? And what you said about forgiveness doesn't always look like having a happy family. For me, my forgiveness was very similar to yours. And it was forgiving him and then releasing him. And I felt so much better since I did that.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for sharing that. That was,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mom,
you
for
for
bringing
sharing.
that up.
You're welcome. So yeah, so I was glad that she was able to get into that place to not only find, like you said, to get that closure and to really close on that forgiveness piece
Mhm.
and fitting that forgiveness within the family unit. And like we said earlier, even by everyone sharing their stories right now, that's how we had to fit forgiveness in there.
Right.
So yeah,
Huge.
it's huge.
That's huge.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because
Um,
I'm like you. I don't know what I would say if my family called me and told me that he was in the hospital and would I come?
yeah.
Now, I will say that I probably will go to his funeral to pay my respects, but like I think it was Andrea said earlier, that abandonment is no joke. That abandonment goes into everything that you deal with. You have that fear of, well, the husband I'm with, is he gonna leave me? Are friends gonna leave me? Trying to do things, being a people pleaser, and that abandonment coming in, it affects everything that you do. Like, I still sometimes deal with abandonment issues. And then I get to the point where I'm like, why are you going through this circular motion again? Let it go. You're not going to do anything. You can't change it. I can't change nobody and how they feel. If you got to go, then I give you the gift of bye-bye. I'm okay with that.
That's
And
real.
it's taken a while to get to this point, but I'm good with that. You got to go. Okay, I'll see you later. I love you, but I see you later.
You got to go.
Mhm.
Can't stay here, but you got to go. The
Yeah,
gift
I'm
of bye-byes.
gonna holler at you.
The
And I'm gonna
gifts.
speak when I see you, but
The gifts that keep on giving.
yes,
Um,
no entrance.
Sherry said in the chats, thank you, Nicole, for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Do we have anyone else that wants to say anything or share, contribute, questions?
I do. I had a cousin, she passed away now. I had a cousin who was so devious. She was so devious. And whatever, and she was one of those kinds that she would try to be nice to you so she could get what she want. And as soon as she get what she want, bam, she'd have been and stabbed you in your back.
Mm.
So, and I had to tell her one day, you know what, we're done, we're through, it's over, you won't see me again. And I had not talked to her since the day she had passed, because it was just that bad. You talking, I don't think I've ever met anyone that bad. I mean, it was horrible. And she went through the whole family like that. That's what she did. She called me one time asking for another. I live in Arizona. She's in Texas. She's calling me asking for another cousin's phone number in Texas to ask, so she could ask her to buy her a pizza. Yes, yes, it was that bad. She was just whatever you could do for her, but then she'll turn around and stab you in the back. Just horrible.
But did you ever forgive her?
I had to, but I didn't talk to her anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had to do that for me, because holding that grudge wasn't doing anything. Holding that hatred of how she's treated me wasn't doing anything. All it was doing is growing anger and everything else on the inside.
Right.
But I had to, and I did. But believe it, one thing I did do, and I'm telling you, when they said that she decided that she didn't want to do dialysis anymore and she was dying in the hospital, I did pray. I did do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I called and I said, Doris, and I'm calling her name because I did tell her that. I said, are you sure you don't want to do dialysis anymore? Because I don't want to I still have a heart, I still have that. My heart doesn't go anywhere. And I said, are you sure this is what you want to do? And she said, yes. And that was the last time I really spoke to her. I forgot about that part, but up to that point, I had not said anything to her, not one word, just cut her completely off. But then you got to realize that when it gets to that point, what decision will you make at that time? Especially when you know. So that was right there was a thought.
Wow.
I just wanted to share that.
Since you brought that up, I had seen a post recently that said, and I think it was by Real Talk Kim. She said, how do you not forgive somebody when God has always granted you more, and you keep, you basically holding on to stuff, but he's, okay, come on, I got you. Come on again, come on. But we got, what right do we have not to forgive?
Right.
It's a choice.
Yes, it is. It'll set you free.
Yes, it will.
So this is awesome. Anyone else? Lady Rain, I see you peeking. Lady Rain. Anyone else? This has been like amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for going under the scope all this episode. Because I know we didn't really talk about the questions or anything. And I just appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your yeses. And with everyone else, I honestly appreciate your yeses as well. Because if it wasn't for you, there'll be no me. And I am just excited and blessed by everyone that's on here. I also want to say we'll be back next week. We'll be talking about education and mental health. Kayla will actually be on. She's a teacher. Now she's the owner, CEO of Common Denominators University.
Yes.
And she's talking about education and the challenges surrounding that. So I'm very excited that she's coming on to talk about that.
Don't mess with my tutor.
Shout out. So we'll be back. Also, I know I love working with Nicole. I always have to be transparent because she's always like, do this, hashtag this, because she's trying to help me go to the next level in this game, because everybody know I'm trying to figure it out. And so I still need to get out the dry erase board. But I do want to let everyone know that all episodes of Under the Scope is on YouTube. So if you miss an episode, you can catch it on YouTube under my channel, Kimberlon B. And they're unedited, so you get the raw me, everything. One of the episodes, I look like I'm licking my lips like I ate chicken, but okay, ignore it, please, and just get to the information. I was just getting ready for the meat. That's all. Getting ready for the meat I was about to eat.
Yeah. Love it.
But thank everybody again. Wait, before we close out, Nicole, one more time, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Nicole Conway Speaks, on Instagram, Nicole Conway Speaks. That's the mental health side. And on the fashion side, you can find me at Cocos Image, COCOSIMAGE. I am a wardrobe stylist, a personal shopper, and I am a plus size model, although I haven't been able to walk the runway because of COVID. Thank you, COVID. And I live in New York, so I don't get to do any of those things.
Uh-oh, we got New York in the house.
Hey!
In the house. Oh, am I mute?
She's so yeah.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. And then I also have a YouTube page, which is Nicole R. Conway. And I have a lot of videos on there. I have some under my stylist videos, but then I have most of them under mental health because I'm an advocate and I have a lived experience. So that's my purpose. So that's what most of my videos are about. And then you can find me on any of those pages. I'm on Nicole Conway Stylist on Facebook. So any of those. And I have a book out and I have a guided journal coming out that I will be announcing soon. I'm excited about this. I've been talking about it for a year, but finally it's time to get it out there.
Beautiful. All right, everyone. So this is closing Under the Scope, everyone. See you next week. Under the Scope, where good tea and reads are welcome. Have a great day. Love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.